right. So I watched the Peggy Hubbard video with her like ranting and raving about the whole Black Lives Matter thing. And one of the first things I want to say is I do think to a certain degree what she said did make sense. At the end of the day, do I think that we should stop killing each other? Of course, because that's really not helping anything. Doesn't make any difference. But in terms of her delivery and her overall understanding of situations outside of the one that she was talking about specifically, I don't think she knows anything that she's talking about. Like for instance, throughout the video, of course, she constantly says, okay, well, if you're a criminal and the police show up, they have to do their jobs, and if you do this and if you do that, okay, well, that's easy to say, and that's not even debatable. I don't think that's what the Black Lives Matter movement is supposed to be against. Now, of course, you're going to have some stupid people that's just going to do whatever just because they can. We can't vouch for them. They're outliers. They do their own thing. But when you think about it as a whole, you know, even with the comparison that you have, the drive-by shooting versus the criminal that shot back against police, so your major gripe and complaint is that a 9-year-old girl was shot to death. She was innocent. She was doing her homework. She had a future. She no longer has one. Fair point. But here's the thing. Nearly the exact same thing happened to Tamir Rice. The only thing you would have to do is replace the house with a park and replace homework with playing like kids do. Of course, he wasn't 9. I believe he was like 11 or 12. But fact of the matter is, that situation totally happened. That was one of the things that sparked the Black Lives Matter movement, because obviously with a scenario like that, you can see that it's necessary to have. So to go off like, oh, well, we're just here protecting the criminals. That's all we're doing, protecting the criminals. Well, was John Crawford a criminal? Was he like on his 100th murder when they finally caught up to him? I don't think so. Neither was that guy that got pulled over for not having a license plate and he just happened to get shot in the face. Now, at the end of the day, would I say he was in 100% accordance with the law? No. You know, of course, he did something that was a little bit out of line. Now, do I think that was appropriate amount of action for him to be shot in the face? No. Because once again, if you consider an opposite story, you have Dylan Roof, who shot and killed 9 people. They showed up and handled him respectfully. Yet you have all these people who have no weapons, who are getting beat up. The one guy who got like horse kicked in the face and he passed out. Eric Gardner, he was choked out for selling loose cigarettes, had no weapons on him. There was a video with a guy with one leg, and it was like the police was out there in double digits over a guy with one leg. Like, that made sense. You know, it's stuff like that really should be bringing the credibility to Black Lives Matter. Nobody's trying to emphasize the protection of criminals. You know, like that really sounds like something from a news show, because that's typically what they do. They try to break it down in just a caricature and say, oh yeah, well, y'all only have this to protect people like that, and da-da-da-da-da, and blase, blase, blah. And then you even have what you call women who also fall into that category, who end up getting shot, no weapon whatsoever, no repercussions for it. That's the whole thing with the Black Lives Matter movement. It's not like we're saying, okay, every time somebody gets killed, it's a big problem. We gotta rant, we gotta rave, we gotta riot. No, it's when you have completely innocent people who didn't do anything that justifies the level of action taken upon them, and it results in something that's lethal or ridiculously harmful, and there's no repercussions to it. There's like pages and pages and pages of stories like that. There was the viral video, something like Peggy's video, as a matter of fact, of this lady whose son was, I believe he was mentally challenged. He happened to step out of the house with a screwdriver at the time that the police was approaching it, and they shot him to death. They executed him right then and there. He had a screwdriver. There are 2 grown men. In that situation, they have tasers, they have pepper spray, they have nightsticks, and things of that nature, and they completely skip that. Now, I do realize, like, I've watched the first video Peggy Hubbard made, and I also watched some of her news interviews. One of which she did with Don Lemon, where she revealed that her husband was a cop, which shows me a whole different level of bias. Because what she's saying is, okay, cops are supposed to protect and serve, not protect, serve, and die. You're wrong. Like, that's kind of part of the job, putting your life on the line to make sure justice is upheld for everybody else. That's like saying a military soldier is supposed to tour, serve, and never risk his life in the line of danger. No, that's silly. You know, these are people, that's why they get the utmost respect when they do their job correctly. It's because every day they put their life on the line. If you're going to this job thinking, I should not confront any danger, my job should be as safe as working at McDonald's, then I would advise you to just work for McDonald's. You know, it's a job that comes with big risk. That's why it has big benefits. You know, if that's not what you wanted, that's not what you should have signed up for. That should have been a job that you completely passed up, Miss Peggy's husband included. Because at the end of the day, every day they suit up, they put on that badge, there's a job that they have to do. It's something that goes beyond what the average citizen is going to do. Which is why being a man of the law carries such a huge amount of weight. Because this is a person that should be prepared to be a martyr. You know, and it sounds a little bit grim when it's said like that, but that's just the fact of the matter. You have to be prepared to die in your line of work when you're in a line of work like that. If you don't believe that's you, go do security. You know, like go do security, be a Walmart greeter or a mall cop or something like, I wouldn't even say a mall cop because some malls are dangerous nowadays. But, you know, find a low risk job that allows you to keep a similar uniform and no guns. And then you can play like everybody threatens you, and then you would actually have the ability to say, yeah, dying should not be one of the things that I'm going to do on the job. But so long as you're a police officer, that's kind of customary with the job. It's like saying, I'm going to work at Burger King, but I come here to make sandwiches, not to have condiments wasted on my shirt. That don't really sound like it makes sense, do it? Not to me either. But, okay. So there's that. Let me see, I had a couple of topics out of the video that I wanted to bring up. Wrote it down in my phone. One of the things she talked about is accountability. And I think this point really does hit home. There really isn't very much accountability. That's an actual fact. But here's where I kind of differ with her philosophy of accountability. She had a son, he was going down a troubled path. Her answer for it is, well, F you, send him to jail, lock him up. Now, on the outside, that might seem like a smart thing to do because the TV has conditioned us to believe, well, jail is for all criminals, violent and non-violent. Whatever it is they do, you put them in jail. But here's the thing. Out of my experience with family and friends that have gone to jail, it does not help. It's not an efficient method of accountability. If you look into places like Switzerland, to where I believe it's Norway, in Switzerland, as a matter of fact. If you look into places like that, to where jail is really at its root cause, it's for rehabilitation. It's not the Americanized, don't drop the soap like she told her son, or you're on your own, F you, this, that, and other. You don't go in there to be introduced to more conflict. You go there to be introduced to a way to handle conflicts better. It rehabilitates you. It makes you a better person. It makes you rethink what you need to do with your life when you get out. So it's not really a punishment so much as an upgrade to what you're supposed to know. Because it's a given that everybody, sometimes you're going to have temper problems, sometimes it's going to be this, that, and other. It all goes down to like how your life was before, and maybe you might need somebody to sit you down and say, hey, those feelings you got, this is how you can handle it. Just a quick reminder, there's something you can do to handle those feelings that you have towards this event and that event and the other. And based on that, you know, you can say, yeah, well, that prison is a great method of accountability. But with the jail system that we have now, people go to prison and just become better criminals. It doesn't rehabilitate you with anything. It pretty much reintroduces you to slave labor. It puts you at the bare minimum. In terms of violence, it puts you at the maximum. The treatment from the police guards may not be might not be up to par with what anybody would consider humane. But I mean, keep in mind, this is what a person like you, Miss Peggy, is just happy to send your son to. This is what's gonna help him. So he's gonna sit in there with other people that made decisions like he did. Nobody's gonna get taught how to change their mind, and at the end of the day, they're just gonna swap ideas on how to do something else. I done seen it happen many times. It's gonna happen over and over and over again, because you don't fix a problem by escalating it. You're supposed to de-escalate it. You're supposed to say, well, instead of being like this guy, be like that guy. You know, give them better role models, better examples of how to do things. Because realistically, at the heart of it all, the violent epidemic that you can see between, young black men like myself and others, it's caused by a lack of good representation. Chances are with a lot of people, if you made it out pretty well, it's because somebody in your life represented something that everybody else did not. But yeah, instead of making like 20-minute long videos, I'm gonna go ahead and try to break this one and do a second one and just do them in two halves. I mean, my only hope is that Miss Peggy can see it, because I do think she's on the right road, but I think her way of her philosophy behind it, the cause and the action is correct, but the understanding of the why behind everything is completely screwed up with this lady.